Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hello and welcome to a new lesson, my dear students. Our today's lesson will be about the shapes in the geometry. So we will talk about the geometry now, and especially the shapes. Let's begin with practice number A on page 15 in your books. Complete the sentences about these shapes. Here we have two shapes. The first one is on the left and the second one is on the right. Let's talk about the first one. Number one, this is a, what is this shape, my dear students? Is it triangle, rectangle, square, circle? Yes, that's right. It's a rectangle, and it has length and width. So we can put in this space rectangle. This is a rectangle. It has two dimensions, length and width. Yes. All two-dimensional or 2D shapes have area but no depth. So here the rectangle has no depth. They are flat. Examples of 2D shapes are rectangles, triangles, and squares. So here we can put in the spaces triangles and squares. After talking about the flat shapes, let's go to the second one. The second shape is on the right. This is a, what is this, my dear student? Is it a square? No, it has 3 dimensions. So here this is a cube. It's a cube and it has 3 dimensions. Here this shape has 3 dimensions. Length, height, the first dimension is length, the second one is height, and yes, depth. It has depth. All 3D shapes are solids. They are all solids. So here in this practice we have known something, that we have 2 kinds of shapes, 2D shapes and 3D shapes. The 2D shapes have length and width, just length and width, whereas the 3D shapes have length, depth, and height. Here we have to focus on these terms. So here's the answer. You can compare your answers with these answers: rectangle, triangles, squares, number 2 cube, dimensions, and depth. Now let's do the following exercise. Exercise number B. Match the words from 1 to 6 to the pictures relating to them, A to F. Here we have on the right 6 shapes, Some of them are 2D shapes and others are 3D shapes. And on the left we have 6 words. They are pyramid, cube, trapezium, equilateral triangle, parallelogram, and prism. Here we want to link between the word and the picture. Number 1, pyramid. As we all know, pyramid is a 3D shape. It has, yes, a base, 3 or 4 sides and 1 point on the top. So if we look for it, we can see it in number F. So number F is the pyramid. Cube. Where is the cube? Also here the cube is a 3D shape, so we can match the cube with number D. Trapezium is a 2D shape. So here number A is the trapezium and it has 2 lines. This line, for example, this line and this line, these 2 lines are paralleled and the others are not. Number 4, equilateral triangle. It's just a triangle, but has 2 lines, it has 2 sides which are equal. So here we can match it. We can match number 4 with E. Number 5, parallelogram. Where is the parallelogram? Yes, it's number B. Here we have parallel sides. Each 2 opposite sides are parallel. So we can match number 5 with number B in the pictures. And finally, prism. Prism is a 3D shape, so we can match it with C, prism. Now you can check your answers, my students, to know if you do right or not. So number 1 with F, number 2 with D, number 3 with A, 4 with E, 5 with B, and finally 6 with C. After checking your answers, let's move and do the following practice. Practice number A on page number 11 in your workbook. Work in pairs. Take turns describing one of the shape opposite. Your partner draws the shape in their notebook with their workbook closed. Take turns to describe. Here we have some shapes on the right and we want to describe them. Now I want to give you some definitions which are so important to do this task. Number 1, a right-angled triangle. What is a right-angled triangle? It's a 3-sided figure which contains a right angle. It's a 3-sided figure that contains right angle. Let me give you a definition of a square. Square is a figure with 4 equal sides and in which all the angles are right angles. A square is a figure with 4 equal sides and in which all the angles are right angles. Rhombus. What is a rhombus? It's a parallelogram which has all its sides that the same length. So it has all its sides the same length. Number 4. A rectangular block is a solid object in which each opposite side has the same length. By using these terms, my dear students, you can describe any shape you want to give description for it. And these 4 sentences are so helpful to you. Let's come back to our book, exercise number D. Match the definitions from 1 to 3 to the correct shapes in exercise number B. Here we are asked to match the definitions from 1 to 3 to the correct shapes in exercise number B. The first one, a 3-sided figure which has all 3 sides the same length and all its angles are 60. Here we can match it with number E in the previous exercise. Number 2, a 4-sided figure in which the opposite sides are of equal length and are parallel. Yes, here the meaning is number B, I mean parallelogram. Number C, any 3-dimensional shape with the same cross-section throughout its length or height. Here we are talking about a prism. We can match it with number C in the previous exercise. Number 4, a solid figure with a flat base and straight, flat, 3-angled sides that slope upwards to meet at a point. Here we are talking about the pyramid. So the pyramid is a solid figure with a flat base and straight, flat, 3-angled sides that slope upwards to meet at a specific point. Number 5, a 4-sided figure in which only one pair of sides is parallel. A 4-sided figure in which only one pair of sides is parallel, and here we are talking about trapezium. We can match it to trapezium in the previous exercise. And finally we have a solid object with 6 equal sides. Solid object with 6 equal sides. I think you all know here what the shape is. Yes, it's clearly number D. I mean the cube. These definitions, my dear students, are so important. You have to memorize them and to recognize, and you have to differentiate between each others. Now I will show you the answers. Number 1 with E, number 2 with B, number 3 with C, number 4 with F, 5 with A, and number 6 with D. And as I have said, all the shapes are mentioned in the previous exercise, I mean exercise number B on page 15. Now read the text, then answer the questions. We have 4 questions, but first of all we have to read the text. After reading, we want to answer the questions. Let's begin reading. The most famous group of pyramids in Egypt is at Giza, near Cairo. The largest is the Great Pyramid. It was built as the tomb of the pharaoh Khufu about 4,600 years ago. It's one of the 7 wonders of the world. The area covered by the pyramid is more than 5 hectares, and it contains 2,300,000 blocks of limestone. The base of the Great Pyramid is square, so the base of this pyramid is square. Each side was originally 230 meters long. The 4 triangular sides meet at the top of the pyramid, which has a height of 147 meters. How did the Egyptians build such a huge structure? We're not sure, but they must have had some very clever engineers. They must also have used thousands of men to move the blocks. Herodotus, the Greek historian, tells us that it took 20,000 men 20 years to build this pyramid. Now we have 4 questions. Question number 1, write measurements. Here we have the shape, and we want to write the measurements on this diagram of the Great Pyramid. So, number A, this is 230. Number B, as it's mentioned, is 147. And number C, it needs to be calculated. We want to calculate number C. Number 2, use this theory of Pythagoras to calculate the length of side C. Here we have a triangle, and we want to calculate the 3rd side, I mean side number C. Number 3, which diagram shows the Great Pyramid viewed from the above? I mean, if we look at this pyramid from the above, which shape can we see? Here we can see the shape number C. This is the shape of this pyramid. This is the shape of, this is the base, this is the base. Yeah, those triangles are the sides, and this is the point, the top point. Finally, calculate the volume of the Great Pyramid in cubic meters. Use the formula volume equals height divided in 3 multiplied by base area. Now let's do the tasks. Now the answers: the height is 147 meters, the base is 230 meters, so B is 147 and A equals 230 30 divided by 2 equals 115. Using the formula a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So 115 squared plus 147 squared equals c squared. After the calculating of c, we can conclude into c equals 186.6 meters. Now we can conclude number 4. Now practice number B in your workbook, and this practice is helpful and important. Underline the odd one out in each sentence, then say why it's different if we want to give the reason. Number 1, we have gas, solid, heat, and liquid. We have 4 words here, and we have an odd word, strange word, which doesn't relating to them. Yes, here the heat. The heat is the different, is the odd word, because the others are states of matters. So gas, solid, liquid are states of matter, except the heat, it doesn't relate to them. Number 2, melt, freeze, boil, cool, condense. Here the odd word, the strange word is cool, because it doesn't involve a change of state, whereas melt, freeze, boil, and condense involve change of state. Number 3, cube, square, pyramid, prism. Here we have 4 shapes also, but some of them are 2D and some others are 3D. Here the odd word is square, because a square is a 2D shape, whereas the others are 3-dimensional, 3D shapes. Here the cube, the pyramid, and the prism are 3D. Now, number 4, a circle, a triangle, a quadrilateral, a polygon, sorry. Here, a circle is different because the others have straight sides, whereas the circle doesn't have straight sides. And finally, number 5, length, height, depth, width, heavy. The odd word here is heavy. Heavy is an adjective here, and it doesn't relate to dimensions. Length, height, depth, width are relating to dimensions, whereas heavy doesn't relate to dimensions. Now we can see the odd words. Number 1, heat. Number 2, cool. Number 3, square. Number 4, circle. And finally number 5, heavy. And besides each word, there is a why. There is a why. I mean why it is different. After comparing your answers with these answers, we can conclude this lesson, my dear students. I hope you can get the benefit of this lesson. Study and study. Don't waste your time. And finally, I want to say you all goodbye. Goodbye.